Hi guys, my name is Bill, and what I'm going to show you today is how to test and why you should test the evaporator fan on your refrigerator. Now here's some symptoms that I'm going to give you that could lead you in the direction of testing the evaporator fan. You have a refrigerator where the refrigerator section is not getting cold at all, but the freezer may seem like it's still working. Another sure way to tell is if you can hear the compressor running but do not hear the fan inside the freezer running. That's another reason why you would definitely want to check the evaporator fan. And if you have a side-by-side and it stops making ice and the refrigerator section is not getting cold, but the stuff in the bottom of your freezer in the freezer section is still freezing, then you definitely want to check the evaporator fan. So the first check that you want to do is pull the machine out from the wall a little bit and listen for the compressor. If you hear the compressor running, you should hear the evaporator fan running. And if you do not hear the evaporator fan running, I'm going to show you how to test it. So here we go. Alright, so moving on. You've pulled the refrigerator out from the wall. You can hear the compressor running, but you do not hear the fan running. So the first thing you're going to want to do is access the evaporator fan. Now on every top freezer refrigerator side by side, there's going to be an evaporator fan inside the freezer compartment. Now what you're going to want to do is access that. On most top freezers, you have a couple screws that hold the back panel on. Same thing with some side-by-sides. You'll have to pull the shelves out, usually on the lower portion. Maybe midway up there's going to be the evaporator fan. In the top freezers, it's going to be right here, right smack in the center. And what that fan does, circulates a little bit of cold air from the freezer down into the refrigerator compartment to keep that cold. If that fan's not running, when the compressor's running, you definitely have a problem. Your machine is not going to get cold. So the real simple and easy way to check this is to go ahead and remove the back panel from your, say, top freezer here. And I've made this easy. And you're going to want to look for the fan right here. This fan blade needs to be spinning. So first thing you want to do, go ahead and spin it. Make sure there's no insulation, ice, or anything blocking this from actually turning. Because if you leave a door hanging open, one thing that'll happen is if you leave a door hanging open, maybe for a few hours overnight, come down in the morning, you don't hear the fan, your refrigerator's not getting cold, only a small portion of air can make it down through this vent right here. And if you leave the door open, the moisture from your kitchen is going to circulate through it, it's going to freeze inside here. Well, sometimes it'll freeze up right in here, and it'll get in the way of this fan from spinning. And then once it stops the fan from spinning, then you just have a serious problem that's usually not going to fix itself. So make sure, first of all, you don't have some kind of frost, ice, or anything stopping this from spinning, because that could just be your problem and you don't have a bad fan. But if there's nothing there, this spins freely, you're going to have to check the fan. So what you're going to want to do, and I have one off, so I'm going to show you on this one, is with the machine unplugged from the wall, of course, you've gained access to the evaporator fan. What you're going to want to do is trace the wires. Now this one here doesn't have any terminals that I can check off the fan. So I'm just going to trace these wires to the plug. So basically I got a red and a blue. I'm going to trace that back to right here. Here's my red and blue wire. So I'm going to put my meter on ohms and I'm going to test these two pins right here. And what you're going to get on a 120 volt AC evaporator fan is anywhere between 100 to 125, give or take some ohms. So if you're getting that kind of reading, when you test the evaporator fan, if you're getting 100 to 125 ohms, your fan is probably good. Now, if the fan's not turning and you have ohms, the fan's probably good, so it's probably not getting voltage. So just to check that, I'm going to show you how to check that real quick. Now, where your plug goes into the refrigerator compartment back here, you want to match where these red and blue or whatever color is on your fan, or if you have easy enough access, depending on how yours is set up, most of the time it's easier just to find the plug in the back wall of the freezer with the fan and everything completely out. Machine's unplugged from the wall. You want to set your voltmeter to volts AC. right here, volts AC. Go ahead and stick your needles to the corresponding pins that go to your evaporator fan. We hear the compressor come on, and let me zoom in on my meter here. So right there I got 120 volts, 121.9. You'll get something similar to that. So if that evaporator fan was not spinning, and say it had no resistance, and it was getting voltage, the fan's bad. Now if you're not getting voltage at that plug right there, and you have the machines turned on, it's plugged in, you're testing the 2 pins that go to the evaporator fan and there's no voltage. Depending on the model of your refrigerator, if you have a defrost timer, you have a bad defrost timer. If you have some sort of ADC board, adaptive defrost control board, that's probably bad. But just remember, you can only really determine that the defrost timer or the ADC board is bad if you can hear the compressor running and the fan is not spinning. Now, if the compressor and the fan are not running, that's going to be something completely different. You're going to want to check that completely different. That might not necessarily have anything to do with the fan or the defrost timer or ADC board or whatever you have. So if you have a problem where your compressor is not running and the fan is not running, you have the dial turned to, say, the factory settings or turned all the way up. Nothing's going on. You don't hear anything. You know, I made a video on how to check the defrost system, and if you're not familiar with that, find that on my video somewhere, and maybe I'll put a link down in the description or something. But if your compressor and your fan are not running, you want to first make sure the machine is not in defrost by spinning the dial on the defrost timer, and then if it's not in defrost and your evaporator fan and your compressor are not running, next thing you're going to want to check is the thermostat. And I'm going to end this video right here and go ahead and make another short video on checking the thermostat, and I'm going to show you how to do that here. So thanks for watching this video on the evaporator fan. I hope I've covered everything and made it clear enough for you to understand. But if you have questions, by all means leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful or if you liked it. If you have any suggestions, comment section. So thanks for watching, and good luck.